So with me, it was the heart wall because I'd never had anything like this done before. Although I've been to um, energy therapists before, and once of one sort or another, a Chinese energy therapist, and I've had relatives who've been to energy therapists before with sort of mixed results.
Okay.
Yeah, but Diane's treatment it is energy therapy, but it's of a different variety altogether. And that's what
Right.
struck me about it is there's the element of the metaphysical about it that it hadn't been present in previous treatment. Yeah.
Exactly. For example, with me, I've also been to metaphysical centers, and I've been to spiritualist churches, and and I've had, I guess, some form of energy healing or another. I think that every person's case varies, but for me, I had a really severe case. I mean, actually, it was more than one. It was quite a few, and I'll just name like three of my symptoms. Three of my symptoms was my body was lopsided. So like I was leaning to the left side, and I was always in pain. I had a hard time breathing.
Oh,
And so I would have a lot of crackling on my knee and on my hip. I could not stand for very long or even sit. And
wow.
I've been to chiropractors, I've been to physical therapy, I did yoga, I changed my diet. I tried so many different things, and I just, I would get x-rays, I've gotten MRIs. And for me, it was really frustrating because I've always been a dancer, and this started like 13 years ago. And so my life, my depression spiraled, my career
Gosh.
obviously not doing good. So I was in a really bad place. And to be honest, working with Diane has completely changed my body. I mean, I cannot explain it. My family's baffled. My doctors are baffled. It's like they're like, but what have you been doing? What did you do? And they'll like try to come up with a reason, but I'm like, I know what it is that I've been doing that's worked for me, but I can't explain it to you. You
Hmm. Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
what type of results? So you said you were doing the removal of the heart walls mainly.
Yeah. It's like about 50 years worth of heart walls. I think I had 7 heart walls with various different layers in between. And it came from starting with a childhood trauma. When the one that I recall most was when I was 13, but there was a previous heart wall to that with about 10 or 11 years of age as well, and successive ones down through the years. And I'd never had any of them removed. And so I always felt sort of removed from ordinary life, distant from other people. It's difficult to connect with people. From my earliest traumatic experiences, I had difficulties with um, feeling panicky,
Uh-huh.
panic symptoms, and that I had to sort of try and cope with feelings of inferiority and being withdrawn. Also, like depression throughout my life as well. And the thing that impressed me about Diane is that her method of actually going through the heart walls and analyzing what's wrong with you and clearing them is not only methodical, but it's almost conversational. So you're actually, in a way, curiously enjoying the conversation while she's cleansing you. And
Right.
yeah, and I felt emotionally, I was very trapped, as though I was in a cage, withdrawn, and it's for me, nothing really happened instantaneously because 50 years of repetitive behavior the way I've had has meant that there's a lot of habitual behavior that I have to unlearn. But
Right.
I do feel much freer now and emotionally available. I'm much more open with other people rather than guarded as I was before. I don't feel panicky. And strangely enough, my sinus problem is cleared up. I don't know why that's happened, but it has. I
That's
know.
really interesting. that you say that, because I noticed a lot of things clearing up for me that I didn't ask to be cleared up. They just kind of are as a result of other things clearing up. So
Yeah.
it's really interesting how that happens. It's like one thing will improve, and then that'll just bring up the percentage of other areas of your life functioning, which
Hmm.
that's another thing that I really like, is that you could actually measure the percentage of where things are in your life. So like we went through my chakras, and we were just seeing, what percentage was each chakra operating at. And so I could see they were fairly balanced. The strongest one was the heart, which was at 100, which I'm sure it wasn't like that 4 months ago when I started.
Yeah.
But then I believe my sixth chakra, which is like the third eye, was really, it was about 20 something. So we were able to bring up that percentage. And so a lot of times, as a result of bringing that percentage up of something that was, blocked,
Yeah.
other areas will become unblocked. So, have you checked where your organs are resonating yet?
She went through and did a body check, and she found, so I'm struggling to remember exactly what it was, but the chest certainly, yeah, there was some work there to bring them up to 100%.
Mm-hmm.
I must actually look back at my notes and see precisely what she cleared, because it was just this last treatment, in fact. Um, but I do sleep much better. I'm not at all familiar with the chakras, even though I was a yoga practitioner for a number of years.
Hey, that's interesting. Oh, okay.
But
Yeah,
it,
well, I mean, what I like about this is you could pretty much, I mean, it's amazing the things you could find out through kinesiology or muscle testing. You could just be like, hey, let me see where my chakras are at. Let me see where my organs are at, or like so many things. And there would be no way of me knowing, for example, when I started with Diane was in September. I think that was more than 4 months ago. Um, and I had a lot of pain under my left rib.
Mhm.
And so we checked my spleen, and that was doing really bad. The percentage was, I think it was like less than 10%. And so through the chart, Diane was able to find what things I could treat my spleen with physically. Like I started taking oregano oil, and it actually said how much to take, how often,
Okay, yeah.
um, for how long. And so I did that. Obviously, there's suggestions I had to take because I was really banged out of shape. I mean, and I'm still a work in progress, so I still have like to go back to some things because it's just so much. Um, but I'm like at a more functioning rate, and I went back to the doctor like I think it was 2 weeks ago,
Hmm.
and initially my spleen was not doing well. So that wasn't just something that she picked up through the body code. It was actually true. And and then when I went back, they were like, so basically I was able to get that back to normal, which is like a miracle. I mean, so many things that have improved within me, not just physically, but in so many other ways. It's nothing short than a miracle, which is why like I'm so excited and I'm so grateful that I came across this. And I just told Diane, I'm like, oh my God, like I want to tell everyone, you don't have to suffer, you don't have to have pain. And I'm just like, I want to get this out there because I wish I knew about this before. It would have made a
Yeah.
huge difference. I mean, it could change so many people's lives.
I think it could, and I think she does have a special ability, and I suspect that people who who can do energy healing will have this to a greater or lesser extent, but I think hers is a special case.
Yes.
Yeah, she's fairly unique, I think. Yeah, and it's really the almost disarmingly conversational way in which she talks you through what she's actually doing.
Right.
Yeah, and it's just very pleasant, and it's very strange, when you've spent so much of your life repressed in one way or another, held back for some reason, to actually see those heart walls sort of peeled away like onions, like skin on an onion, and cleared. Yeah.
And it's amazing because think about how many people have the heart wall and they don't even know they have the heart wall. And as a result, you're blocked from love, or people are not seeing you when you're offering love. They're not noticing it. These are
Yes.
side effects
Yeah.
of the
And that's
heart.
that's precisely what I identified in myself as well when Diane was talking about them. The fact that even though people are giving you indications that they would like to be your friend, I've lost you again. You're back again. That even though people are giving you indications that they would like to be your friend, you're still sort of with your body language pushing them away, basically. I've lost you again. And because of that, it's difficult to make friends. You don't, even when you have friends, they're not really close friends. Instead, you end up with a litany of acquaintances instead, and you're living a life fairly lonely in the end. And it's completely unnecessary.
Right, right. And I think that, to a certain degree, therapy and other approaches are helpful, but I think that everything has its place. And what I really appreciate about this is it goes into a deeper level, and you see results a lot quicker.
Yes.
Definitely. And I really like Diane because I had spoken to several people, and before I decided to go with Diane, and I didn't really feel what I feel with her. Like with her, you genuinely feel like she cares, and she has other approaches that she includes as a form of helping you too. Like she has her own thing she does.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and the thing about her is that she's enormously curious about the other disciplines around what she does, and so she reads and studies and tries new things out to see whether or not they work or not, and so those sort of are added into the mix, the sort of melange of therapies that she can offer people according to the person, according to what they need.
Really nice meeting you, and thank you for sharing your experience.
You're quite welcome. Thank you very much for sharing your experience as well, because I thought it was just going to be a straight